Hey guys! So today I'm going to talk to you about mental health. I'm going to tell you about some questions that were asked, my experiences, and some resources that you can reach out to. So give it a thumbs up and I'll continue. So, mental health. It's a bit of a touchy subject, but I like talking about it a lot. I think that it's a very broad topic and there's a lot of context into it. So without further ado, let's get started with the questions. So a couple of my friends asked some questions that I can, present to you. First question asks, why does mental health get such a bad stigma? So I'm surprised that mental health still has a bad stigma even after 13 Reasons Why has aired. Mental health gets a bad stigma because in today's society, we're told to be very, very strong, and not all of us can stay strong all the time. Our society is very individualistic. It's very me, me, me. It's more like get yourself up by the bootstraps, like that sort of thing. And sometimes it's not always like that, and it really shouldn't always be like that. It's hard, honestly. Life gets hard, and I don't blame anyone for admitting that they have a problem. I don't blame anyone who feels that they need medication so that they feel mentally clear. I honestly think that many older generations say to us, oh, you're just being too weak. Like, get over it. Sometimes it's not that easy to get over. And that annoys me when people say that. Because it's not something that you can just snap out of. You can't just snap out of a mental health illness. For that reason, that is why there are medications. That's why there are psychiatrists. People who are trained in this area who are willing to help and willing to give you that hour that you need to talk with them and go about a course of medications. So the next question is, good days, bad days, how do you handle them? So on my good days, I feel great. I feel like I can take on the world. But on my bad days, I still manage to get out of bed. I try hard not to let my bad days get the best of me. I try to see the good in every bad day. I don't ever let it define me. Like sometimes the question to ask yourself is like, if today is a bad day, are you going to really remember it a year from now? Are you going to remember it 5 years from now? 10 years from now? No, you're not. Because normally people don't, take into account, like, their day. They don't really remember the last thing they ate on Friday the 13th, 2014. Like, it's a little odd. No one remembers that. So I mean, on my good days, I feel great, I feel sociable, I feel like I can take on the world. But on my bad days, I try not to let that get to me because I know that there's a good in every bad day. So the third question asks, are you going to talk about your experiences? Well, yes, I am. So I got depressed when I was in my second semester of my senior year in high school. It was a rough time because not only was I stressing myself out, but I was also afraid of the future. And when I entered my freshman year of college, I had to take a psych course. And my professor said, in general, that depression happens when there's something in our lives that we cannot control or that we have no control over, and we try to control it. So it's a mixture of fear, it's a mixture of anxiety and being depressed and not realizing that there's nothing you can do about it, therefore it's okay. I remember at that moment it clicked for me. For me, my depression happened because I was stressed out. Prolonged stress leads to depression down the line. Um, I also, I also felt that I was gonna go from a place where I knew where everything was and I knew who my friends were, and I knew that I had a great group of like family and friends. And I was gonna go from this place where I knew everything to a place where I had no idea who would be my friend, um, where anything was. So that thought of learning a new concept in life and learning to be more independent scared me to my very core. I remember that summer I suffered many panic attacks. I was on medication for my mental illness. I was on Paxil, Xanax, and these sleeping pills. Uh, After a week, I stopped taking Xanax, and after a while, I stopped taking the sleeping pills. So for the remainder of my recovery, I was on Paxil. And the thing about these antidepressants is that it's not like one pill is going to be like your miracle or like a cure all for your condition. You have to put in the work. So not only is it just a medication, but it's a combination of medication, seeing the psych, and working on your coping skills. My coping skills are to this day exercising, reading, writing, taking pictures, listening to music, um, making to-do lists, working on my laptop, um, going out with friends, anything that distracts your mind off of your condition is in itself a coping skill. And those coping skills I learned in therapy. Um, so had it not been for therapy, had it not been for my support group, my family, friends, I would have never gotten better. I think the most important aspect in recovery is that, well, yes, your therapist slash psychiatrist is your support system. You need other people besides your psych to be your support system. You need friends. You need family. You need people who are going to be patient around you and are going to be supporting you throughout your recovery. Um, Next question is, what triggers these causes in attitude, behavior, and feeling? So, going back to what I just said, so stress shifts your attitude into what I like to call the positive outlook to a more negative outlook. So, your attitude changes when you're stressed. When you're stressed, you don't want to be bothered. You want to do your work. You want to do everything that you need to do so that you don't feel stressed anymore. Your behavior and your feeling, your moods can just be a variety of moods in just 1 second. It could be happy, sad, and then downright depressed, and then back up to being happy. So part of that is you need to monitor your feelings and how you're feeling. You need to consciously know like when to back away from someone, as far as having a conversation with them, when